What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with TechDaily. So the new Samsung Galaxy S25s have been announced now. And out of the three phones in the lineup, the one that tends to get overlooked, in my opinion, is the S25 Plus. And that's a shame because I feel that this one is actually the best bang for your buck when you consider the price and the additional specs this phone offers over the regular S25, because it's not just a bigger phone, there's a few more elements to it for sure. In fact, it was a similar story last year with the S24s, and this year with the new S25s, Samsung kept a lot of the same differences that sets the S25 Plus apart. So to start off, obviously, the S25 Plus is quite a bit bigger than the regular S25. It's a 6.7-inch phone. The regular S25 is 6.2 inches. And honestly, I explained this already in my S25 video, but the regular S25 is just such a small phone by today's standards. It sounds weird, but it's literally the smallest phone Samsung offers in their entire lineup, including all the A-series phones and everything else you could think of. The S25 Plus, even though it's technically a plus-sized phone or a bigger phone, whatever you want to call it, it's actually just the same size as basically every other Samsung or Android device on the market nowadays. And there are a lot of phones now that are 6.8 inches or larger, like the Ultra. That phone is still bigger than this one, of course. So yeah, the S25 Plus is called the Plus still, but it's not a particularly big phone in the world of smartphones. It's just bigger than the extra small regular S25. The S25 Plus, by the way, comes in the same set of colors as the regular S25 this year, so that's all the same. And I wish Samsung went back to some more vibrant finishes, but this is what we have this year. There's icy blue, which is kind of a blue metallic. There's a mint green, my personal favorite of them all. There's navy blue, which is definitely the most colorful, I guess you could say. And then there's silver shadow, which obviously is kind of a metallic gray. And like every year, Samsung is also offering a few more color options you can get only through their website, and these were attracting a lot of attention at the press briefing. The bright red one is called Coral Red. There's also pink gold and blue black. And again, these colors are only available from Samsung.com if you want them. By the way, I'll leave a link down in the video description, but Samsung is offering some really great trade-in offers through their website right now if you do decide to pre-order this phone or any of the others in the lineup. Even for like older devices, you can get a few $100s towards the S25 or the Plus or the Ultra, and there's some additional pre-order perks as well. So take advantage of that if you are interested. Now, the first perk or sort of extra you get with the S25 Plus is a higher resolution screen. So not only is the screen itself bigger, but you get more pixels. It's a Quad HD 3120 by 1440 resolution screen. You do have to enable that option in display settings, but when you do, you get a really high resolution display that's super sharp, and this is not an option you have on the regular S25. In fact, the only other Samsung phone that has this resolution screen is the Ultra, so you're saving a ton of money getting a QHD screen here. Of course, whether or not this is a must-have is sort of up to you. The display, in my opinion, is the essence of the smartphone. It's what you're looking at 24/7. So I think a lot of people would want the best display possible for the money, but I can also understand if QHD isn't a necessity, if you can't really tell a difference. Some people, though, want all the best specs for the money, and that's basically what you get here with the S25 Plus and its display. Speaking of price, Samsung kept the same prices for the S25s this year, so that's great. There was no price increase like it was rumored. The regular S25 starts at $799, the S25 Plus is $999, and the Ultra jumps all the way up to $1299, which honestly is a lot of money for a smartphone. I totally get that. I think the S25 Plus at $999, while it is $1,000, is maybe more within that sweet spot. It's a flagship price, but it's not too crazy. And what's also important to note is you do get more storage on the S25 Plus again this year compared to the regular S25. The regular S25 has 128 gigabytes of storage for its base price. The S25 Plus doubles that to 256 gigabytes. Now, I'm not saying paying an extra $200 just for storage is worth it by any means, but it's something else to consider when you factor in the price difference and everything else. It's just one more perk in going with the S25 Plus. One thing you don't get this year with the S25 Plus is more RAM. So in years past, Samsung would sometimes give the regular S series phone less RAM and the Plus and the Ultra more RAM, but all three phones in the lineup this year get 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is a lot. Compared to last year, that is one less perk in going with the Plus, so maybe not as enticing compared to the S24 Plus last year if you really care about specs and performance. But hey, if you're opting for the regular or base level S25, that extra RAM actually is a nice add-on for once. Also, the new processor inside this phone is the same as the regular S25. It's the all-new Snapdragon 8 Elite that's made for Galaxy. Now, one important thing to mention, the processor inside the S25 Ultra, that seems to be a little different, a little more powerful, just sort of overclocked. It's the same actual processor. So if you were looking for a performance difference, that's where that is this year. But between the regular S25 and the S25 Plus, speed and specs and performance are all the same. And obviously, you're going to get the all-new AI features that encompass Samsung's One UI 7 software update. Galaxy AI integration is obviously a big set of new features for the S25s this year, even more so than last year when Galaxy AI first launched. And I think a lot of the new Galaxy AI features are actually pretty cool this year. Like, you can now circle to search for songs, so if you hear something playing in a video or on Instagram, for example, you can find out what it is. There's new widgets for summarizing your day and all your to-dos and tasks and calendars and everything. And Galaxy AI is now integrated within all of Samsung's own apps, as well as Google's suite of apps and Spotify and WhatsApp, and more apps I'm sure are going to be supported soon. So with Galaxy AI now integrated within those apps, you can actually do like multi-step commands in sort of a free-flowing sentence. For example, if you wanted to ask Galaxy AI for information on the next NFL game, to add it to your calendar, and to send a message to your friend about it, you can have Galaxy AI do all of that basically in one action. So Samsung really is all in on Galaxy AI, even more than they already were on last year's phones. So jumping back to the perks of the S25 Plus, I feel like not a lot of people talk about this, but you do actually get faster charging and a bigger battery with this phone. The S25 Plus supports 45 watt wired charging, while the regular S25 tops out at 25 watts. So you can get this phone juiced up from 0 to 65% in 30 minutes. It's been a few years since Samsung really talked about charging speeds, but I think less time plugged in is always a plus. And for the battery, since this phone is bigger than the regular S25, obviously, it's going to have a bigger sized battery inside. It's a 4,900 milliamp battery versus a 4,000 milliamp battery in the regular S25. And Samsung says that battery life on all these S25s should be better thanks to the new Snapdragon processor being better optimized. And we'll see how much better that actually is when we all put these phones to the test ourselves. But I think just having that extra bit of battery with the S25 Plus is a bit of a perk. I know it's not a crazy big difference, but a lot of people feel that the 4,000 milliamp battery inside the regular S25 is kind of small by today's standards, and the S25 Plus has a battery size that's more in line with most other Samsungs and Android phones that are out there now. Last but not least, both the regular S25 and this S25 Plus do have the exact same camera specs and setup. So around back, you get the same 50 megapixel main lens, 10 megapixel telephoto lens, 12 megapixel ultra wide lens, and up front, the same 12 megapixel selfie camera. Now, I feel like some people might want some camera differences here on the S25 Plus, but ever since Samsung merged the Note with the Ultra has been where they usually introduce more camera features and better specs. And they did that once again with the S25 Ultra this year. But this S25 Plus and the regular S25 have the exact same cameras again this year. And that's not to say that they aren't improved though. Samsung added a new feature called Audio Eraser where you can remove different kinds of background noises from your videos, which is super helpful. And they said they've greatly improved low light and nighttime shooting, particularly with video. So I'm definitely interested in trying that out. Of course, the new processor might also be able to help improve pictures and videos. Again, that's something we'll have to try out here soon. But yeah, the main thing here is that with the cameras, you unfortunately don't get any advantage with the S25 Plus. So I really do think that when you put everything together, there are some decent advantages in going with the S25 Plus over the regular. Yeah, it's a bigger phone, obviously, but the higher resolution screen is a decent perk, in my opinion. That's an S25 Ultra feature that you don't have to pay all that extra money for. You get twice the storage, which I think has some value too, especially since 128 gigabytes on the regular S25 is so low. You get a bigger battery, which might afford you some extra screen on time, but more importantly, you get faster charging speeds. When you compare price to price, spec for spec for an extra $200, I think that's all giving you a little more for your money. And I think altogether, it brings the S25 Plus up to a bit of a different level compared to the regular S25. But what do you guys think? Is the S25 Plus worth it? Should Samsung maybe just get rid of one of these two phones finally and streamline their lineup? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, of course. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video though. Be sure to follow TechDaily on Twitter and subscribe to the TechDaily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.